Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z.
And I'm Keith.
And we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show. Why? Is it because I'm saying sick? You just assume I'm being sarcastic?
Yeah. It's because you sound sarcastic. That's why I think you're being sarcastic.
It's just because I'm white. And I can't use current... Well, that's not even current. I can't use slang at my age and level of caucasity without sounding...
You know what? Fair.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Like them and subscribe
If
them.
you are someone who's into YouTube, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Even if you're not.
Yeah, just subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Also, get on our Patreon.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, hey friend.
What?
What? I mean, you can watch a whatever if you're seeing
Yeah, okay.
Girl.
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
Yeah, I am. Remember how I used to insist on us introducing ourselves every single episode?
Well, we sort of took care of that by...
No, I know.
It's in the disclaimer.
I wonder if people think we're not a couple, or if people just assume we are.
That would be hilarious if they thought we weren't.
That Z and K, two homosexuals who are friends, who live together. Oh, Fortress. Not quite what I was expecting. I didn't know anything about it, so I kind of assumed there was some wizardry that was going to be going on.
Oh,
I don't know. Look, I don't know why.
Okay.
That's just...
Because Chris Lambert.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Combs. I'm like, there's something magical in here because they're always in, they always do something fucking weird. So it's a okay. Everything said it was set in 2017.
I know.
Did it say that?
I didn't clock if
okay,
it did.
okay. Because
I assume it's one of those things where it's like on a screen somewhere. You know what I mean?
Okay, right.
In the dystopian future of 2017.
2017.
Which, if they only knew how much worse it was.
I'm just going to say this right now, and this is going to get me canceled.
Oh, boy.
That bitch deserved to get imprisoned. Like, if you can't take off the girl, I mean, not really, but like his wife. Fucking
Karen.
The only thing that got her caught was that she had to wear her fucking dickie, her fucking camo dickie that said like Marine. Girl,
I know.
Fucking throw it in the garbage. Like, why do you need to fucking wear like that was
Why do you need to wear what?
Her dickie. Why does she need to wear her fucking dickie?
Because she's covering the vest that is hiding that it's going to spoof the scanners.
Oh, okay. That did not.
No,
because I thought it said Marine on it. So I thought it was just.
Yeah, I think the implication
is.
This is extrapolation.
Okay.
I didn't really get it either watching it.
Okay.
But that it's like a flak jacket or like a bulletproof vest that she had because she was in the military.
Gotcha. Okay. And it's going to not make her
And because it's lead, got lead in it or whatever, X-rays aren't going to penetrate it. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's
Okay. All right. Okay, I forgive it. However,
it is not clear.
all I'm gonna say is that bitch could have cut that collar off. If the only thing that it is about is covering your belly, you don't need to have a turtleneck.
Well, more to the point, she couldn't keep
Right.
her smock from. No, yeah, I know it's so bad.
That was upsetting to me.
Yeah.
His capture was sick though. Like those dogs ripping him to shit. It was like, oh my God. But yeah, like they're trying to cross a border to get to somewhere that isn't where they are so that she can have a secret baby.
Right, because there's a one-child policy.
Which he said.
Dystopian.
Which this is where I'm confused.
Yeah.
They had a kid, but the kid died in childbirth.
Right.
So they didn't have a kid.
Right. And not only that, she was sterilized or whatever.
Yeah, they tied her tubes, and she still managed to get pregnant. And they were like, well, you should have known better.
What'd they get you for?
My wife was carrying a second child.
One wasn't enough.
He died at birth.
They tie your tubes?
They said they did. Guess we got lucky.
I get the dystopianism of that, but I'm like, they didn't have a kid. Like,
Right.
it's about, if it's all about, like...
Controlling the population or
they
resources
didn't
or
have,
whatever.
Like, that's not how that works. Also, can you imagine white people not letting white people have more than one kid?
No.
Come on.
No, I cannot.
You'll sterilize other people, but you're not going to sterilize each other.
Absolutely.
That's never going to happen. Oh, my God. Maybe if you're poor enough, but, like, even then, they're going to be like, really? Do we really want to become these kind of people?
Guys,
We're... yeah.
you want to see a reflection of where we are now, like in a fictional setting?
know.
Idiocracy. It's basically a documentary.
I've never seen it, but I've also never wanted to because it's called Idiocracy. It's like one of those things where people are like when people recommend things to you and you're like, ugh, and be like, you know what a good movie is? Fight Club. You're like, oh, God. Please don't speak to me anymore. Please don't speak to me.
Hide and seek. You ever seen a movie like that?
Like, oh, my God.
Memento.
No, yeah, you're like, oh, okay, yep. You like men who direct things, don't you? Like male directors.
I mean, who else makes movies? That's who's in charge of making. That's who does movies.
I guess that's fair. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Oh, man.
Ignorant.
One might say idiocratic.
Yeah. It's not even a good movie, despite having Terrence Crews and
Luke
Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, like seeing, like every single time people are like, this is what, you know what I think of whatever. Anyway. I hate when people are like, you're all idiots because you don't think like me. I'm like, you know what? The one thing to ensure that someone is going to want to have a conversation with you specifically about your political beliefs is if you tell them
That you're smarter.
that they're so dumb, they might as well have a disability, like an intellectual disability. That's going to get them to want to sit down and listen to what you have to say. Like, also, it works both ways. Like, if you think that you're smart, all you have to do is think you're smart, and then someone opposing what you say is going to sound stupid to you. It doesn't matter if you're right. You don't have to be right to think you're smart.
We need to get back to use common sense.
Oh, I also love, like, generalized statements like that.
Me too.
You're like, oh, okay, what does that mean? Yeah. That's something I really enjoy about you when you will come in to anything and you're like,
Hey guys, what's up?
No, you'll be like,
What do you mean by that?
you'll be like, before we take this any further, I think we have to actually define what we mean by any of the shit we're talking
It
about.
shuts down so
and
many.
I'm like,
I mean,
huh.
unfortunately, it shuts down so many
I
conversations.
know, yeah. And people will be like, well, obviously it's this. And you're like, that's like, it's very, whatever. Anyway. So he gets put Lambert, Christopher fucking Lambert.
Christopher motherfucking Lambert. The Lord of the Apes, Lord Raiden, and once Lord of Diane Lane. The guy had sex with Diane Lane multiple times. There he was, sitting on a couch, eating pate. In real life, he looks a lot like Ted Danson, but with a kind of magic that only a Lambert has. Chris has. His friends call him Chris.
He gets put in a line with a bunch of dudes, and they're all hanging brain, and I guess showing off. Like, I guess they get divided by who's got the biggest or something like that. Like, who's
So they get sorted.
a grower, not a shower, or something like that. I don't know. So they get, like, assorted. He tries to smuggle in a cock ring or something in his mouth.
Yep.
They say don't do it, and he says fine, and then he
Then they get the intestines.
then they put a metal ball in his stomach,
Yeah, it just hangs out in your.
and it doesn't ever go anywhere, which is
Not only that,
exactly scientifically sound. And the delivery system is that they put a big gun in your mouth and just pull the trigger, and it somehow doesn't blow the back of your head off. It just goes gently down your throat and into your intestines and stays put. And it doesn't kill you in the process.
No. You don't get sepsis.
Nothing.
And it just hangs out in your guts.
Also, it's a magnet.
It's magnetic.
And the thing that I
Despite
like,
being, it would have to be stainless steel.
what I like about it is the implication by not only the diagram that they show,
Yeah.
but how they get it out is that it's just in your stomach.
Right.
It's not even it doesn't move past your stomach. But none
Well,
of.
no, it's down here. That's
Really? Oh, I guess.
because your stomach's way to fuck up here.
Well, I thought they were doing it like here.
That's still intestines.
Really?
Yeah. Your stomach's like behind your ribs.
Okay. Okay. But what I do like about it is they just go a straight line up.
Yep.
And that's going to get it all the way out. I also like how they just ignore your esophagus at all. They're just pulling a big metal ball the wrong way up your esophagus, and nothing is happening.
That one guy puked a little bit.
The one guy puked. No one had any blood anywhere, which
Nope.
is unbelievable. Anyway, whatever. So
See,
the
it's science
intestine.
fiction.
I get that it's fiction. I just want to know the science part of it. That's the part of this part that doesn't make sense.
Well, that's explained when Combs' character takes it apart, and you're like,
Oh man, no, I
this
love
part
that.
here is the.
She's beautiful. This thing is a work of genius, man. Look at this. Look right here. This is a series of micros. That's your pain mode, all right? And this thing right here is a macro. That kills you. And look at this thing. This little itty-bitty thing right here on top. That's your nerve clip, man.
Oh man, that was good. That was so good.
Explained nothing.
Oh yeah, it actually made it make less sense. You're like, he's like, it triggers a magnetic explosion, or it like triggers an explosion, and I'm like, what's exploding? This is just a bunch of metal parts touching.
Well, especially because is it Maddox that gets exploded, and then
Yeah.
that's the intestinator that.
Yes, somehow he got exploded. The intestinator was still intact.
The end.
Yeah, it all makes perfect sense. Anyway,
They should have just said it was microwaves or something. You know, because then it just makes the body explode.
yeah, I think this is a thing that people sort of like. I don't know why this was a thing in the 90s where they were like, you swallow this and then you have a camera inside you. But like no one had any concept of digestion. Everyone was like, oh, and then it stays in you forever. And it's like,
This happens in other things.
yes, I feel like there was like,
Total Recall goes up the nose. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember? You guys remember Total Recall?
And did you know Arnold Schwarzenegger was supposed to be in this?
I read that.
Yeah.
Because his stunt double is in Reanimator.
Yeah.
And so he
loved
Reanimator. He loved Reanimator.
Yeah.
And that's why Stuart Gordon directed.
Yep. So.
And then he dropped out, and the budget got slashed.
Yeah.
It went from like 70 million to 15 or something.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's crazy, but they filmed in a real fucking prison.
Some.
I mean, still, that's why. I
it's
mean,
unclear to me
obviously, the offices and fucking, you know.
Well, it's unclear to me what part was. It said that, but like, what possibly could have been shot in a real prison?
Well, it was in Australia, a prison in Australia. So I don't know what they fucking look like. I don't know.
But it all looks very much like sets to me.
Yeah.
The things that aren't miniatures, which apparently that's
Oh,
how they
nice.
did the long shots of the.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, bring miniatures back, man. I love that shit.
100%.
Love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put an intestinator in. What the intestinator does,
Is whatever you want.
one, it's called an intestinator,
Brilliant.
and it gives you pain if you're like disobeying, or it just explodes your insides. I like how they're like, if you cross the yellow line, you'll get pain. If you
Never
cross
comes
the red
back.
line,
It's just that one guy.
you'll get, you know. But
Death.
then everything else is like, you're disobeying, you get pain.
Right.
And I'm like, you could have just said that. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, you could say like anything with a red, like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
I think it was a. I feel you, but also it's like that's a decent
I know why.
way to put it in during our exposition part of the.
Totally agree. But where it's like the guy that immediately dies.
Because he's crawling into the red zone.
Yeah, he's crawling into the red zone, and they're all just like, oh, well, he's going to die. And it takes so long, and then it explodes. I'm like, anyone could have just grabbed his leg and yanked him back.
Well, Lambert was trying, but he was restrained. And
Everybody
then
kept also.
Freddie Prinze Jr. was like, tow you.
Do you mean Clifton Collins?
Yeah, whatever. Gomez.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So he finds out that his wife is also captured and is in a different part of the prison.
Yeah.
We meet Kurtwood Smith, Commissioner Poe, or whatever he's called. Mm-hmm. We also meet Z10. Mother. Who's an AI, sort of.
Yeah.
Unclear the extent of their. I mean, it
Yeah.
has conversations with the
With Poe.
warden,
Yeah.
but otherwise needs permission. Shall I intestinate?
I love that. Yeah. There were aspects of it that I thought was really interesting. Like his fascination, like kind of wanting to pretend like he was a human being and all that shit. That was really interesting. I loved the scene where Karen
Gets him
like
drunk.
walks in on him like getting fucking refueled or whatever, and he's just like, oh, he's just gooned out, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, he got the gooner brain happening, and
I legitimately didn't. I assumed it was a
yeah, literal
fellatio
gooning
machine.
Yeah. So
How about them nips?
good God,
How about
that
them Kurtwood nips?
I realized I've never
that's my new name for it.
seen Kurtwood Niff. Fucking, I realized I've never seen Kurtwood Smith without a shirt on.
Pursuit.
Oh my God, I thought Robin Williams was
He's up there.
furry.
It's Dan Hedaya level.
Oh my God. I love the thing that was like, someone said they saw Alien Resurrection in theaters, and the theater audibly gasped at Dana Dea's fucking hairy shoulders. 100% I believe that.
No shame.
No, yeah.
I know people don't have that control of that, but it does highlight the insane policing of certain bodies over certain others in media.
Oh, yeah. You don't really see hairy dudes very often. Also, I'm just going to say this.
No, and you never see any hair on a assigned female body.
Oh, no. I will say,
Unless it's a joke.
That, or I feel like nowadays it's calmed down because pit hair's become a fetish now, so they're kind of okay with it. But I will say, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, in my personal opinion, I mean, if you want to deal with laser, that's your own hill to climb. But if you are hairy, don't let anyone shave you or wax you like that. No, coming from someone who doesn't have that much hair, but got a little more through the through medical science and testosterone. Wax hurts and shaving sucks. So like, if you just have a hair everywhere, just like don't bother. Like, just fly that freak flag. Let that hairy freak flag fly. That was really hard to say.
Plenty of guys are into sloppy bears. Yeah, so spoiler, Kurtwood is a cyborg or something.
Yeah, and then she's like, because she's pregnant, and she's like, but what they do is they take your baby from you.
Oh yeah, one of the other dystopian elements is that it's a privately run, it's a for-profit prison,
right?
And so anybody in it is the property of Minitel.
Yeah, by Menon. So he finds out, or she finds out he's a, cyborg or whatever.
Abomination.
He's, genetically enhanced. And
that's what he calls it. He says, I'm enhanced.
Oh, yeah. And then she's like, oh, you're what they do to our babies when they take them. And he's like, the doy. Like, what are we going to do with a fucking baby, Oh, who gives a shit about a baby? So she freaks out. She doesn't want to.
Well, he also he pulls a Ducat and says,
"Yeah,
you stay with me, and your husband will live."
Your husband. No, it sounded like you said your husband. Your husband will live.
What fascinating thing are y'all doing? This muggy November weather gives me the horribles.
So. Oh my God, I can't keep my.
I'm just thinking about Gilbert.
Yeah, Gilbert's great. Yeah, so he says, if you stay with me, I'll keep your baby from getting turned into me. And she's like, and...
he says that too?
Yeah, he says that. He doesn't say it exactly how I worded it, but yeah, he says we won't, like, you'll be able to keep your baby and it won't get turned into me, what I am.
Also, did you catch that when she discovers he's enhanced... She's like, you can't make love?
Yeah. She says, like...
And he's like, but I can still love.
Yeah.
When my kind are in the majority, there will be no more world hunger. No overpopulation.
You don't sleep, you don't eat. You can't make love, can you?
But I can love.
Yeah, which is... None of the things that he's getting sucked off are... his penis, so I don't really know why.
Right, because he doesn't have one.
No, but she doesn't know that because he doesn't. His penis area isn't exposed.
Yeah, it's unclear how she jumps to that conclusion.
Yeah, I mean.
Also, And let's not be
Right.
queerphobic.
Yeah. He can do a lot of things with his face and arms.
Yep. Thanks,
So.
Duval. We can do other things.
I did like when she gave him the champagne. And she's like, "How do you feel?" And he's like,
Happy.
and then he just full on passes out. I'm like, accurate. Yeah.
It's coming from someone who gets
Yes.
their amino acids through a tube.
Yeah. Yeah. Our first Thanksgiving together, Keith and mine, not America and all the people it got stolen from. But I talked on the phone with my mom and I was having some champagne and I don't know exactly what went through my head, but I drank the whole bottle of champagne while I was on the phone with my mom for this Thanksgiving. And I ended up so drunk that, like, we barely had dinner before I was like, I have to pass out. And then I woke up the next day so fucking hungover. And Keith was like, bye, I have to go to work. And he felt bad. And I felt horrible. And we both had to work that day. So it was super great.
Yeah, but it was worse for me.
It was worse for you because you weren't hungover and you had to talk to my mom while you were mostly sober. So, yeah, it was probably worse for you. Anyway, yeah. So anytime someone drinks champagne and the implication is that they don't have a high tolerance, I'm like, no, don't. Champagne will give me so much more of a hangover than anything else will.
Probably sugar.
Oh, yeah, the sugar. Oh, yeah, the sugar.
It's probably the sugar.
Jeffrey Combs plays a guy who's
Apparently
what's his
the
name,
character's
D-Dag or whatever.
D-Day, apparently.
Okay. D-Dog or whoever. He.
Why? Why?
I think it's funny. I don't get names right, and I'm gonna fuck it up anyways. So might as well lean into it.
That's not leaning in.
That's leaning hard. So, D-Bag, D-Day, played by, I was gonna say D-Dog. Was it D-Day? This is what I'm saying.
I'm in a coma.
I am in the coma.
For me, it's the coma.
The fucking, I was gonna say, plays Jeffrey Combs. Like D-Day plays Jeffrey Combs.
I've never seen Combs do a character like this.
I guess not. Yeah, I feel like it was close to something Ferengi.
Ferengi?
Yeah, you know, he was in there for blowing up money. You know,
You do a drinking game where anytime he says "man," then you will be dead.
Keith shit the bed.
Oh yeah.
This time only metaphorically, when he guessed the line that, he said he's
He's a ghost, man.
yeah, and that's exactly what Jeffrey Combs said. And Keith stood up and left the room, and I had to pause the movie. I had to lean over the bed, and I had to push the space bar on your computer to pause the movie.
Damn.
The amount of emotional labor that costs me. Oh, I don't know. Say something. I don't know.
You're doing great.
I know, but I don't want to be doing great anymore.
We haven't talked about Abraham.
Yeah, he was great.
The actor was great. Most of the characters have no dimension at all.
Have what?
No dimensions.
Oh. Yeah.
His does, largely due to what's his name, Lincoln, the actor. But he's a cellmate with, first of all, this ginormous 30-story underground prison facility is overcrowded, which tells you something.
Yeah.
Because there's like 5 of them in this one cell that Brannock is put into. Abraham is the like valet or something of Poe. We see him shaving.
I mean, I was shocked. I assumed that he would full on slice the neck, but I guess he doesn't have blood or anything, so that never happened.
Still.
Yeah.
You didn't know that necessarily.
Yeah, that's true. What are you looking up?
Lincoln Kilpatrick.
Damn.
R.I.P.
His name's Lincoln, and he played Abraham.
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that.
Typecast.
And then his brother Kennedy played
John.
Cheers. So, there's a lot. It packs in a lot of things. Plot-wise, there's not a lot, really.
Yeah, correct.
But you got the intestinator, you got all the...
interpersonal drama of...
Well, the technology of the prison where it, like, scans your dreams.
Yeah, it doesn't allow you to have good dreams.
Right, and you can be punished. And I liked that the prisoners are forced to do labor, which is just the continual expansion of the prison. I thought that was interesting. The one child thing is whatever. To me, that's not a dystopian.
Well, it's like, here's the thing about that is that, like, it's like you're going to be sent to prison because you got pregnant after being sterilized, and it's like
you should just do a better job.
Right. I'm like, this doesn't make sense that they're not doing like whatever. But it's also like it's done in a way so that you root for him to get out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the thing where it's like, well, all these other people probably deserve to be there. All these other people aren't as sympathetic because they've probably done crimes. And it's like not acknowledging that, like, when everything is criminalized, there is no way to be a morally good person, you know, according to the law. Like, that will never happen. So, like, it does that sort of thing that I'm like, I get it. Wow. What if white people had the same treatment that like black and indigenous people have consistently been?
Right.
You know.
Which is what dystopian sci-fi always is.
Right. Correct.
Or often relies upon.
Like, imagine if they made you get sterilized.
Imagine America, but China.
Right.
What?
Like, imagine if they forced women to get sterilized. You mean white women, because they actively do that to women of color. Like, and it's like
real rich.
Yeah. So that was like.
Well, it's also that they both had military backgrounds.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So we know that
they're very good, upstanding citizens.
But yeah, I thought some of the effects were pretty good. I thought it looked pretty good for what it is.
Right. I think like the the gore factor was pretty interesting. Like, there was a lot of like kills and, you know, fights and shit that were like pretty badass. I think the drones like the clone drones were kind of fascinating.
Yep.
Even Kurtwood Smith's, you know, weird hair gel intestine, whatever. That was pretty interesting. Like,
Selsun Blue.
Yeah. all that stuff. Yeah, it had like effects wise, it was really good.
Yeah.
I think, especially for like 92 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it was that.
Well, like the hologram, like
Yeah,
it's
like a lot of
stuff
stuff
for the day,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
it looks good. The
Yeah.
way
It
ages
doesn't
is
look. Yeah,
impressive to me.
for sure.
And I liked all the sort of video effects or whatever, like
Yeah.
when they're
Yes.
you see the control room monitors and it's like
Yeah,
trying to lock on to people,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
all the dream sequences, that's
Yeah.
trippy as fuck.
yeah.
That was good.
His fucking when they like do a mind wipe, which
Oh, yeah.
just puts you in
One of those
space
gyroscope.
Yeah, how they test you for going to space or whatever, and then they put
And they have electrodes on your forehead. and
electrodes. Yeah, I was like geodes.
geodesics.
They on your head,
Geodes.
and then they spin you around for days at
It's
a time.
the advanced Ludovico.
Yeah. It's the modified advanced modified Ludovico part 3
Yeah.
Folia do or whatever. Part Folia do.
You love a folly, I'll do.
I just like saying it.
And what is it, like 4 weeks or something? Is
No,
it?
he's 3 days.
Oh, 3 days.
He
No
just
one's
says,
lived past
"That's
4.
Yeah. And she's like, you don't know, and that's when you don't know what he's capable of, and that's when he's like, just live with me, and then, or like,
Right.
stay with me, and the baby can, and then she agrees, and then he's a ghost, and then she gets Kurtwood Smith drunk, and then she
Pulls him out of a well.
accesses his dreams. Her husband, what is it? Brennick. And she finds him as a little boy in a well, and she says, come on, come on, come on, come on. And none
For
of that
what
makes
felt like 3 minutes.
I don't understand. All you hear is like click, clack, 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 clack. And then she's in.
I gotta say, for being such a high-tech security situation,
Right.
the fact that it's very easy to, once you're in the control room,
Yeah.
access Z10's.
What I don't understand is how Zed was able to record her getting the little holographic jewel,
Yeah.
but was not able to record
prevent her from doing that?
No.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have any evidence of her waking
Doing
up
that.
Brannick or
Yeah,
whatever
right.
when she was literally accessing Zed, and somehow Zed is like, why aren't you using voice controls? And she's just like, clickety clack, clack, clack.
Mm-hmm.
And Zed just doesn't. I'm like, okay. So,
How about when they use D-Day to push the enter button?
oh my God, the fact that they lift his hand up and all he does is hit enter. Fucking Christ.
After he just says, load virus.
Oh my God.
Execute.
Yeah. This is a Unix system.
I know this.
I know this system. Click, click. Yeah. Oh my God.
Clickety clack.
Clickety clack, clack, clack. It's just like there's aspects like that for me that are like absolutely ridiculous but make it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people don't feel that way. They're like, oh, it's so unbelievable, so it's not. And I'm like, yeah, at a point of it not being believable, you have to just enjoy it. Like, I feel like 90s sci-fi, you're not going to be watching it because you're like, oh, let's see how close to reality this is. 90s sci-fi is its own trip. Like, they just did some shit. Like, because I feel like a lot of it was like actively trying not to seem like Star Trek or Star Wars. So it was like, just like, we're not trying to. They didn't want those aesthetics. They didn't want those because in the 90s, as popular as those things were, you were still kind of an uncool fucking nerd if you liked them.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't
It was
quite
like
as mainstream.
It was mainstream, but only in nerd communities.
Right.
So a lot of like, if you wanted like mainstream Hollywood stuff, or if you wanted like cool alternative sci-fi, you were not making things that were like Star Trek. And I'm not saying that like Star Trek is the epitome of believable, but it did do a lot of the things that they had or are things that scientists have actively tried to create. Like Windows Media Player exists because of an episode of Star Trek where
really?
Data's playing multiple things at once. And someone was like, how would somebody be able to digitally do that? And so it eventually led to like the creation of Windows Media Player, which is like, you could be like, okay, it's not that great. No, but like, that's crazy that like to be able to digitally play music and to be able to do that shit, you know, like, so I feel like when things are like dystopian future, they're actively trying not to seem like Trek in some ways. Whether it's active or not, like they're just like, we want to seem cool and not nerdy.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I more mean like they're trying to make it seem cool and something like exciting and not like, what do we think we can achieve in 10 years?
Yeah, well, it's dystopian rather than
Yeah.
utopian.
Yeah,
which
correct.
Star Trek to a certain extent is utopian.
Correct. Yes.
I mean, you can argue, I suppose. But
It's like post-dystopian utopian. So, because they do talk about like, you know, they do, you know, have
yeah,
like,
but what we're presented.
correct, is the utopian. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you get flavors of, you know, the corporate aspect.
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
reminiscent of Alien.
Yeah, for sure. And like aspects of stuff like that is like very.
And everybody has a fucking UPC code.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I love that that's not pushed more than it is, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Because by that point, it was already a played out trope.
Oh, God.
I mean, not as far as representation, just like fear mongering the beast. You know, like,
yeah. It's the mark of the beast is gonna be a UPC symbol.
Right. In fact, there was that cult that said laser UPC scanners in grocery stores were the.
Yeah. Oh, that was like
No, I know there was. That was almost mainstream Christianity at a certain point, but like, Anyway, there's that music video.
Oh, right.
There's a very strange man at the checkout stand, and there's a laser scanner where you put your hand. Kathy, don't go to the supermarket today.
I forgot about that. So, would you recommend?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty fun
for sure.
I mean, I think if you've watched, you're probably not going to be blown away by it. If you've seen things like Total Recall or Running Man or what else?
Total Recall. You said that already.
Yeah. I mean, you can easily see Schwarzenegger in this movie, right?
Yeah, I was like
Especially in
watching
the
it and
early
was like
90s.
trying to imagine. I was like, huh. I
It
wonder
really
what that
feels
would
like the
be.
stuff he was in.
Oh, for
around,
sure.
Around
Yeah.
that time. So, and, you know, he's not my favorite person, but he's not bad in those roles. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
it kind of defines the subgenre, you know,
Yeah.
like his roles in Predator. And
Yeah.
Yeah, we should watch The Running Man, though.
Yeah,
At some point.
I've never seen it.
It's
never
been
seen
forever since I've seen it. Based on Philip K. Dick.
Oh shit. Yeah, I always think it's.
We should do a suite of Dick.
Oh shit. Did you say a suite?
Yeah, a month.
Okay. Yeah, I think aspects that I could that were like, oh, these good people got imprisoned. Don't you feel sorry
yeah.
for them? You know,
Who gives a shit about that?
Things like that, and things like, just some of the ways that they like. I mean, the way time passed in there was like weird. Yeah. I was like, I get it, but we don't. Ugh. And like sometimes like the way that they would use technology was like nonsensical. Like they would just, so like those were like, oh. But the ways that I think that it really got me were like, it had like pretty convincing FX. It was pretty good. Mm-hmm. It was pretty violent for what it was. I'm on the fence, but like I can't decide if I'm like, they sort of bring in the subject of like, sexual assault. Mm-hmm. But it's not a joke.
Right.
It's like a fear and a threat, and they don't, it's not mocked.
Right.
And it's not like, it's something I was like, I think I was more on the fence about it, but like when there was like one point where Braddock was dreaming about, and Brennick, yeah, whatever. So
well, it's confusing because he's Brennick, and in the first main baddie is Maddox.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why that was like, who the fuck? So Brennick, whatever. He, like, a couple of his cellmates try to attack another of his cellmates and like assault him after they basically threaten to do that. And he catches them and he fights them off. And they all get in trouble and it's a whole thing. But he dreams later, and he's dreaming the situation, but he's seeing his wife as a victim. And I was like, oh, this is so interesting because
it's gay.
It's showing that like his impulse was to like protect, like he sees, I don't know, there was just something about it that I was like, oh, this is really interesting because it's like, it's not saying that like this is something that he views, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't view it as him seeing this person as like weak but more like he cared about that person not being harmed.
Right.
And it wasn't about, it was like him feeling like, responsible.
Right.
As opposed to like just being like, I hate gay people, being gay. It wasn't, because like that never got brought up at all. Like that was like never a thing where it was like, it was just like he's saving his friend from being hurt.
Right.
Not like these guys are, it's like what made them bad was not that they were acting gay. It's that they didn't care about his boundaries and him saying no, and they didn't care if he wanted it or not. That was what made them bad. So that was like an aspect of it that I was like, oh, this is a very, for it being a 90s sort of film, I was like, this is tackling it in a way that I feel like a lot of media did not do at the time,
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying it was like, I'm not like, I'm glad it was in there, but I'm like, that could have been done really badly, and they avoided a lot of that.
Absolutely.
And they were not graphic with what they showed.
No.
And nothing happened because he stepped in and he made sure. So it was like, okay. And it wasn't this thing of like, he's such a good guy. Like, I don't know. He wasn't like overly praised for it or anything like that. It was just that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he ended up getting punished. He was the one that, he got punished for it,
what I liked about that is that no one
Yeah.
rats on Maddox. The three of them get
Yeah. Get caught.
punished. And
yeah.
that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, that one was, I assumed that one was because they were going to hurt him if they got...
Yeah, and I was going to say that was another somewhat subtle aspect of, like, even though it's a panopticon, like, literally, like, no one is... I mean, clearly, there's shit they do only because they're not being watched all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Which is... It feels like
it doesn't
contradictory.
Make sense.
Yeah. That Poe or whoever...
Yeah.
Will let the prisoner violence go as long as they want.
Yeah. Right.
Before punishing.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's applied sometimes randomly. Mm-hmm. Just as
right. If you act up enough, everyone gets punished.
Right.
Or like random people get punished.
But they're never intestinated in that scene before Lambert intervenes. Like, this SA is going to happen.
Yes. Right. And no one cares. Yeah. Yeah. So there was like aspects. I mean, I think that was one of the things that I didn't enjoy about it. That sometimes they were being watched at all. Like even their dreams were monitored, but like they could get away with the most heinous shit and say all kinds of fucking shit and be like, let's form a prison break.
Well, and that I love when he's undoing the intestinator and they're just covered with a sheet.
I know. I'm like, oh
that's
my
not
God.
sus as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what is happening? So like, there were aspects like that I was like, there. I feel like a better explanation needs to be given. Just that it's between sweeps of, the hall. Yeah, I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's
but
a little.
that was the only time. That was really the only time that I'm like, okay, this technology is so great that you can't even dream, but you're like. You're playing fort with an intestinator.
I feel mixed about it because it's I guess structurally as a device, it's like inconsistent and frustrating that way.
Yeah.
But it almost works because it comes down to Poe's whims.
Yeah.
And the functionality of Zed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, those are going to be imperfect, but you can imagine a corporation saying, like, what could go wrong?
I do like the part where.
But intention is unclear.
Right.
So it's unclear if it's meant to be inconsistent for that reason.
So. I did like the part where they're using everyone's intestinators to like blow something up.
Yeah.
Like they've taken them all out and they're putting them, and it's like Zed says like this person, and Maddox. And Poe is like, no. He's like, Maddox is dead. And he says to her, he's like, you're going to get blamed. He's like, I need to, because she's like locked him out of the control room and she's like doing all this stuff herself. And
right, he's been fired.
Right. And he's like, no, you have to let me help. And she's like, no, or whatever. And he's like, you're going to get blamed. He's like, and they're going to do the same thing to you that they're doing to me. And then she lets him in. And I was like, oh, this is interesting because this is also like that was way more interesting to me than like them having a baby on a abandoned farm or whatever. Because I'm like, this is saying that the like machines
have self-interest.
Yeah, the machines that they're using will also stick together to keep themselves and each other safe. And I'm like, this is so much cooler than they gave it time to be. Like, so that was like a little bit disappointing. But I definitely think it's like a fun watch, and it's pretty violent. It's fun at times. It's annoying, and Christopher Lambert is fucking Christopher Lambert. Like I don't know what the fuck. Like I don't.
It's so wild to me that guy had a career.
Oh my God, when she's having the baby, and she's like, it's never gonna come out.
I'm never gonna have this baby. It's never gonna come.
Yeah, right.
What the fuck?
Amazing.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, in Australia, they cut out the
Yeah.
end. It just goes from them escaping to
Them
dating.
smashing through the border fence
to them.
Yeah. Which, no big loss, but you do miss dude getting run over.
Oh my God. So good. Keith had to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah. I like the truck. I wish the truck got more...
I wish I had more personality, more room to shine.
Yeah. Damnation Alley was a movie I saw on television. I don't know. It might have been just a made-for-TV movie. But I remember seeing that on television. Blew my mind. It's vehicle-based. It's like post-apocalypse. A crew just driving around in this weird vehicle that's like, got the accordion in the middle.
Nice.
And it's got... what's his name that played Hannibal on the A-Team? George Papard. It's got Paul Winfield, Darmok, Angelad.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wait. Maybe it's not. Wait. Am I confusing it? Oh, and Jan Michael Vincent.
Jan Michael Vincent is someone that I don't really know anything about.
Oh, not a good person? Yeah, I mean, he struggled. I don't know.
No, I mean, like, I don't really know. Like,
I mean, he was
know the
only in
name.
shit for a short time because...
Okay. Wasn't there that fucking,
Problems.
like, Rick and Morty where it was, like, everything was Jan Michael Vincent?
I don't recall.
Okay. Okay.
Airwolf was the biggest thing,
Oh, I see.
which I watched religiosity, where he played... he's part native.
Oh, I bet he was.
And you can tell because he lives in a cabin. And the way he spends his free time is he plays cello on a little pier on a lake while he watches an eagle.
Hell yeah, that's really what we do.
Never mind that in the pilot he does an essay. In the pilot
That's what I
episode.
thought you were gonna say, that he does that, and then you did the old switcheroony.
I did.
You said
Part
later.
native.
Yeah, you said this white guy plays a native.
I actually don't know his
Yeah.
ethnicity. Anyway, he's in Hooper with Burt Reynolds. It's about stuntmen. And Damnation Alley. Anyway, so vehicle-based sci-fi, it's something I was weaned on.
Gotcha.
Knight Rider,
Gotcha. Yeah.
all the Airwolf,
Yeah.
the Blue Thunder television series.
Yeah.
What else? It was a real thing. A very 70s sci-fi thing that permeated 80s television. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. Check it out. It's NB
Which one?
Fortress.
Fortress. Okay. I wasn't sure if you meant that or Damnation
101 Dalmatians.
101. Okay.
I didn't like that the only black character gets killed.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
He's also the only... It's the best performance. He brings so much to the character.
He really does.
No one else...
I was going to say that you said all the characters are two-dimensional, and I was like, yeah, specifically Abraham, with how, like, generically two-dimensional, his character is. He makes
the
you
dialogue is
love
pretty-
him.
Yeah.
You're like,
He's the most sympathetic character,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about Karen.
no.
She's so flat. I mean, she's not given anything. Yeah, exactly.
He'll be like, tell me you love me, and she's like,
Yeah. Meanwhile, Abraham is, ain't that a bitch?
Ain't that a bitch? 2 days, 2 fucking days, and you just like everybody else in here.
You didn't answer my question.
Fuck you.
yeah. Oh, man. The way he talks to... It's great.
Yeah, and it's the dialogue is not the best written.
No, yeah.
Especially for his character, you can tell it's
Yeah.
he's written black. Mm-hmm. That's not a compliment to the writer.
Oh,
What?
nothing. I thought you were going to just leave it at... That's
it's
not a compliment.
A white writer
Yeah.
writing a black
Right.
writing
No,
black
no.
dialogue
I know. Yeah.
is really what it felt like.
Yeah,
Only
yeah.
he did it in a very naturalistic, believable way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Much more
Right.
than it deserved.
Right. Yeah. And the way he pulls shit off, like when he covers for her with the, he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I noticed dust
Oh,
on it."
yeah.
And
My
he's
parole?
just, yeah.
Fuck that.
It's pretty good. Yeah. No, yeah, that's the Fortress, 1992. It's streaming.
Unrated.
It's streaming on.
With the new Web TV Classic. At only $99.95, it's still an exceptional value. But now it's faster, more compact, and even includes a built-in printer port so you can print email, pictures, and more.
And if I built this fortress around your heart, encircled you in trenches and barbed wire, then let me build a bridge, for I cannot build a castle. Let me set the battlements on